Hey guys, so I wanted to make a video today about how spending almost 1 month in Indonesia really completely changed my mindset and the way that I approach art now, and how I carry myself as an artist, and now how I'm actually proud and can call myself an artist. So I hope that this video can help someone who is in a similar situation of, dealing with perfectionism, or you're on your art journey and you're not seeing results quick enough and you feel like giving up, or perhaps if you have art block and you love to create but it's just the beginning stage of getting yourself ready to create can be quite daunting. So I've learned quite a few things when I was out there, just from being around such a genuine bunch of people and a community, and I really want to share that with you because not everyone can just get on a flight and go and experience this and go to Indonesia or countries that are a lot more genuine. um, and I say genuine because obviously, if you've watched my videos before, you know that I'm in England and most of the networking things are in London. And if you know London, then I don't need to say anything else really. So yeah, I hope this video can help you, and let's get started. So the first thing that I learned when I was out there is to not put pressure on myself when I'm creating art. Also, you might think that a lot of these things just sound so simple, and they are genuinely simple. Like, it's not, you don't need a big revelation or something, but honestly, what changed it for me was being around people that had this mindset. Everyone that I was around was like this, and I think that really helps because when you're in a stressful environment or people are acting a certain way, you're obviously going to adapt and you're going to start to act like that, right? As soon as I was in Indonesia, granted, I had just, if you've seen my TikToks and stuff like that, then you'll know I was fighting for my life in a certain country that shall not be named. And then Indonesia was on the way back to England. So I thought, let me stop off here. Plus, I had a friend that, lived there, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll be okay here, right? And I've heard Indonesian people are nice, which they are. Fantastic. The problem is if you're in an environment, let me just take my experience, right, as the example. So being in England, London specifically, it can be incredibly superficial. England has a lot of classism issues. If you are not at a certain level, or you do not have an amazing skill set or connections, you're not of use to a lot of people. So your experience is going to be very different. Whereas in Indonesia, that is why my mindset, I think, changed, because for almost a month I was around just such a genuine environment. People cared about each other, people were trying to help each other all the time. They weren't constantly criticizing each other, and that really helped me. And obviously not everyone can just, move country. Like, I'm back in England. I don't want to be back in England, but I'm here. So from being in that environment, I had to steal some of the vibes and take them with me, because I wasn't going to survive being back in England, to be honest. The way that I'm not putting pressure on myself anymore with my art is that I'm drawing things that I think are genuinely just cute and fun. I'm not thinking, oh, I'm going to post this later on, I'm going to do this, or oh, is someone going to like this? It doesn't matter. That's not why you create art, and it shouldn't be. I remember I went to a portfolio review once, and then the person said, are you drawing this because you actually want to? And I thought, no, I'm drawing it because I'm putting this in my portfolio and then I want to get hired. And you can tell, I guess, well, to them, when someone is drawing something because they think they have to and not because they're genuine about it. And I think that's why I had such a disconnect with art in itself. And then being in an environment, I don't know, I've just never had that genuine sort of connection with being in art in that environment. So I just thought, it doesn't matter how I feel, it just matters what's going to get me a job. I'm also trying to find my style as well, which means not putting pressure on myself, because I was also trying to quickly come up with, like, oh, do I want to draw like this? Okay, hurry up and just draw in this one art style, and then you can make money off of your art. But now I'm actively looking at different styles and trying to understand what I like, what I don't like, trying out things like watercolor or colored pencil, stuff like that, and just taking the time and not putting that pressure on myself to be like, oh, I have to be at a certain point within a certain amount of time so I can do this and this. It it's not that deep, and it's okay to just chill out. I'm doing a lot better, and I'm drawing because I want to, not because I have to. The next thing is, you are worthy even if you're not good at art. And what I mean by good is just your technical skills, your fundamentals. Are they solid, in anatomy, color theory, and perspective? Is that something that a professional, they would look at your work and they would say, yeah, this is solid work, right? If not, then for me, I would be like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. This is not great. And obviously, being in England has changed my perspective of that in general, because it's sort of like a you can't sit with us moment if you're not good at art. Whereas in Indonesia, I was talking to people, their skills, phenomenal, absolutely crazy. I think most of them were professional artists. And I was thinking, oh my God, why are you talking to me? Like, because in England, this person would not be talking to me once they realized where my skills were at. Even when I was comparing my skills to other people, because comparison is not necessarily the thief of joy. It depends how often you're doing it and to what extent and what it's doing to you. If it's making you have like crippling anxiety to creating, then obviously, stop. But I think competition and comparison can be quite healthy to motivate you to better yourself or to keep going. But the way I was doing it obviously wasn't like so healthy, because I was just like, oh, I need to get to this point so then I can do this. Whereas when I was there, it was just such wholesome vibes that just completely changed my mindset. And I thought, why am I thinking like this? Because you start to feel crazy. I'm like, why am I thinking like this if no one else here is? Like, what's wrong with me? But then if I was back home, this would be completely fine. Basically, wholesome vibes and being treated equally with your skills is a complete game changer, honestly. The way that I'm implementing this and, still seeing myself as worthy of, being around certain people and just navigating and actually calling myself an artist is I'm being kinder to myself in the things that I create. I'm not necessarily going to turn a blind eye and say something is perfect that I've drawn when it's not, but I'm going to recognize that I took my time and I tried really hard at what I was creating, and that's fine. Like, it's a good piece of art that I've created. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, this is rubbish, you loser, what are you doing? Because you wouldn't do that to someone else, so why would you do it to yourself? That's the point in stressing. Like, what good is that doing you? To just belittle your art all the time, it doesn't make any sense. So the next thing that I realized is that art is about having fun and connecting genuinely with people. I was in an environment when I was in Indonesia where people were brought together by art. That wasn't the only thing that you spoke about. We would speak about other things. It didn't seem transactional. And that's a problem I have when I am in England specifically. Because what the hell? I'm just not interested in that kind of thing. I'm that kind of person that cares about genuine connections and stuff like that. That's why I think it changed my mindset so quickly when I was out there. And I was also attending these events like weekly, multiple times a week. I was there because I knew my time there was limited, right? And once I realized how my experience was going to be there, I was a little bit addicted. I was like, oh my gosh, imagine living like this all the time and just having like real people around you that are actually making time for each other. It's amazing. And yeah, like the way that people would approach art. There would be some humor around it if you've drawn something that maybe doesn't look so great, but they would never belittle themselves or your art, because why would you do that? It's just about having fun. So, how my mindset changed because of that was I wasn't seeing these invisible deadlines and trying to get my art out at a certain time and trying to just, I don't know, work as a machine, I would say. Bali really taught me to slow down and to take my time and just to focus on finding what I love and don't be stressed out about it. So how am I applying all of these lessons now that I'm no longer in that environment where I was just absolutely thriving? Now I'm approaching England in such a different way. Firstly, I don't want to be here, but because I am here, I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to make this work? The first thing is to still implement, the having fun and not being so hard on myself. So I'm learning new mediums, which anyone would know that when you're learning something new, it is incredibly, for me, it feels quite painful, when I'm not good at something, but I'm trying to remember or at least enjoy something on that journey, right? Like I'm learning watercolor at the moment, and it does make me internally scream, but I'm also thinking, oh, this is quite fun. It's fun, it's cute, it's a moment, and I'm learning something new. So yeah, I'm learning new things, new techniques, I'm using my sketchbooks a lot more. Before, I was only ever drawing digitally in my iPad on Procreate, and now it's more so like 50-50 traditional and then also digital, which I'm really finding is helping with my creativity because now I'm making such a conscious effort. Because when you open your sketchbook and you're just flicking through it, right, you can I don't know, there's just something about it where it's really nice when you can see that someone has taken the time to sort of, decorate the pages and all this kind of stuff. And it's something that I enjoy doing now and it's no longer daunting. Like, you know how the first page of your sketchbook, everyone is scared to draw on it. I'm not as scared as I was before because why? Like, I'm just expressing myself creatively. Why would I be stressed about that? So, yeah, just having a genuine approach to things and not ripping out pages in my sketchbook because they're not perfect. Allow myself to experiment more because that's what a sketchbook is for. It's not supposed to be perfect. It's not supposed to be something that you would then go on to sell because when you have that mindset, things are no longer fun anymore. So why would I restrict myself in my personal sketchbook? It doesn't make any sense. So I don't have that mindset where I'm like, oh, can I sell this? Can I profit off of this? That's something that's very common in England as well, is someone has a talent, a skill, and someone's like, oh, you should monetize that. Why? Why can't I just be good at something and enjoy it? In conclusion, Bali just reminded me that it's okay to live my life. It's okay to live. That's fine. I've realized that your art is worth making because it makes you happy, not because it's making other people happy or because they want to see it. That's not the mindset that I want to continue to carry with me because that was the mindset that was hindering me in the first place, that was leading me to really struggle on my art journey in the first place. So that's really the main things that I've learned and sort of my experiences comparing just being in Indonesia to then comparing that with being in England specifically. Anyway, I hope that this video really helped someone understand that, you don't have to approach art in this way and there is a genuine community out there. And there's probably genuine people I mean, if you're in England, there's probably genuine people here too. I think it's just a little bit harder to find. Whereas when I was in Indonesia, there were, everywhere I looked, someone was just being freaking nice and normal. So I could literally find these people everywhere. Whereas in England, I would have to search, I think, quite far um, to find people like this. Yeah, anyway, I hope that that helped. Maybe you could tell me your experiences about, networking in London, but do you think that maybe is because of your skill set or what you had to offer, or you have actually just found a genuine community? I think that would be so interesting because I am going to be here for, a few more years. So I think it would be nice to find a genuine space here, and even if not, I know that it exists elsewhere. And so if anyone has actually been to Indonesia and checked out the art scene, how was that? Because for me, oh my God, it was absolutely phenomenal, and I am incredibly glad that I went. This video useful, and I'll see you in the next one.